Good morning, boys and girls. This week we're going to take a wild adventure in animal safari again. Our animal this week is the hippopotamus. The hippopotamus is an aggressive animal who gets into fights almost daily. With God on our side, we can win any battle that comes our way. Our lesson today comes from Judges 7, 1 through 22, where Gideon defeats the Mennonites. We will learn why we need God in our lives. Bottom line, with God on our side, no one can defeat us. Hope to see you soon. Miss you all. Bye. Oh, boys and girls, I forgot to tell you to stay tuned for the skit and a word from Mr. Cam. See you later. Bye.
Hello, I'd like a hippo tour, please.
Hello? Is someone there?
On your left.
Oh, sorry. I haven't been able to see out of this left eye for 2 years. Not since that hippo bit my eye out.
A hippo bit your eye?
Oh, yes, it was quite painful. But hey, let's not let that ruin your fun. You're here to see hippos, right?
Well,
Of course you are. Here, take this and fill out all this information, please.
What's all this?
Well, the top part's just for marketing purposes. We'll send you information about tours and give you coupons and special offers.
What's down here? Medical insurance, next of kin, emergency contacts?
That's just a formality. You know, in case you're eaten by a hippo.
Does that happen often?
Define often.
How many people were eaten in the last month?
Well, none actually, but we haven't really given a tour in about 3. But don't let that scare you. We're so excited you're here. Laura, we have a customer.
Hi there. Sorry, you have to shake my left hand. A hippo ain't my right one.
I didn't realize hippos were so dangerous.
Oh, absolutely. The hippopotamus is the most dangerous animal on earth to humans. They're territorial, they're foul-tempered, and they're always looking for a fight. They'll bite your head off just out of boredom.
I see.
But don't let that scare you. Just go ahead and finish filling out your paperwork and hand over your credit card, and then we'll be off to see the world of hippos.
I'm not sure I want to see hippos now.
Of course you do. Think of all the amazing memories and pictures you'll get to show all your friends.
Assuming you'll come back alive, of course.
Sorry, I'll just go feed some parrots or something.
Well, we lost another one.
Boy, that was close.
Too close. I really thought she was going to want a tour.
We're going to be in so much trouble if somebody ever decides to take this tour and they're not scared away by our theatrics.
Because you're going to have to go in that river with all those hippos?
No, because there are no hippos in the river.
There aren't any hippos in that river?
Do you think I would be this close if there were?
Hey everybody, welcome back. This week we're going to continue our Animal Safari Bible lessons. And this week we're going to be talking about an animal that you probably already know what it is if you watched the skit. But I want to ask you a question first. What is the most dangerous land animal to humans? Most people would think that it's lions or tigers or maybe wolves or something like that, but it's the hippopotamus. The hippopotamus is very territorial. If you get in its area, it attacks, and it doesn't matter what it is or how big it is, it's going to go after them. And the reason it's so successful all the time is that it's so big and so strong that we just don't have any way of defending against that. And they're very, I don't know, they just don't have a very good temperament either. They're just very mean. And sometimes people are kind of like hippos. We can be mean and we can attack people. But what we're trying to learn today is that with God on our side, no one can defeat us. But we'll talk about that a little bit later on. But the lesson today comes out of Judges chapter 7 and goes from verse 1 to 22. And this is what it says. So Jerubbaal, that is Gideon, and his army got up early and went as far as the spring of Herod. The armies of Midian were camped north of them in the valley near the hill of Moreh. The Lord said to Gideon, "You have too many warriors with you. If I let all of you fight the Midianites, the Israelites will boast to me that they saved themselves by their own strength. Therefore, tell the people, whoever is timid or afraid may leave this mountain and go home." So 22,000 of them went home, leaving only 10,000 who were willing to fight. But the Lord told Gideon, "There are still too many. Bring them down to the spring, and I will test them to determine who will go with you and who will not." When Gideon took his warriors down to the water, the Lord told them, Divide the men into two groups. In one group, put all those who cup water in their hands and lap it up with their tongues like a dog. In the other group, put all those who kneel down and drink with their mouths in the stream. Only 300 of the men drank from their hands. All the others got down on their knees and drank with their mouths in the stream. The Lord told Gideon, "With these 300 men I will rescue you and give you victory over the Midianites. Send all the others home." So Gideon collected the provisions and ram's horns of the other warriors and sent them home, but he kept the 300 men with him. The Midianite camp was in the valley just below Gideon. That night the Lord said, "Get up, go down into the Midianite camp, for I have given you victory over them. But if you are afraid to attack, go down to the camp with your servant Purah. Listen to what the Midianites are saying, and you will be greatly encouraged. Then you will be eager to attack." So Gideon took Purah and went down to the edge of the enemy camp. The armies of Midian, Amalek, and the people of the east had settled in the valley like a swarm of locusts. Their camels were like grains of sand on the seashore, too many to count. Gideon crept up just as a man was telling his companion about a dream. The man said, "I had this dream, and in my dream a loaf of barley bread came tumbling down into the Midianite camp. It hit a tent, turned it over, and knocked it flat." His companion answered, "Your dream can mean only one thing. God has given Gideon, son of Joash, the Israelite, victory over Midian and all its allies." When Gideon heard the dream and its interpretation, he bowed and worshiped before the Lord. Then he returned to the Israelite camp and shouted, "Get up, for the Lord has given you victory over the Midianite hordes." He divided the 300 men into 3 groups and gave each man a ram's horn and a clay jar with a torch in it. Then he said to them, "Keep your eyes on me. When I come to the edge of the camp, do just as I do. As soon as I and those with me blow the ram's horns, blow your horns too, all around the entire camp, and shout, 'For the Lord and for Gideon.'" It was just after midnight, after the changing of the guard, when Gideon and the 100 men with him reached the edge of the Midianite camp. Suddenly they blew the ram's horns and broke their clay jars. Then all 3 groups blew their horns and broke their jars. They held the blazing torches in their left hands and the horns in their right hands. And they all shouted, "A sword for the Lord and for Gideon." Each man stood at his position around the camp and watched as all the Midianites rushed around in a panic, shouting as they ran to escape. When the 300 Israelites blew their ram's horns, the Lord caused the warriors in the camp to fight against each other with their swords. Those who were not killed fled to places as far away as Bethsheba, near Zerah, and to the border of Abel-Meholah, near Tabbath. Now in the story, they had a lot of guys. The first group that left was 22,000, and then there was only 10,000 left, and out of that 10,000, there was only 300. So you had 300 Israelites against all of the Midianites and their allies. Now the whole point of this story is that God intentionally made a small group out of the Israelites, because even in the story he said, if I let all of them fight the Midianites and they win, then they're going to boast about how they did it themselves. So we ended up with only 300 fighting all the Midianites. So if they win this battle, there's no way they can boast about themselves. All they can do is boast about God. And even the enemy, they'll know about the Israelites' God. And so look, at the beginning I told you that what we wanted to do is we wanted to learn that with God on our side, no one can defeat us. Sometimes in life, we're going to come up against obstacles that are really more than we can handle. And we're going to try to fight against those obstacles, fight against those enemies, and we're going to fail. But then on a rare occasion, you're going to have people that, they're determined that they can do it, and they might end up overcoming those obstacles. But when they do, they're going to brag on themselves. They're going to, kind of like the hippo that we were talking about earlier. It's all going to be about how big they were, how strong they were, how ferocious they were. And it's all because of them, the reason they were able to win the battle. But we have to be able to realize that there's some things in life that we just can't do on our own. And we shouldn't even try to do them on our own. The Israelites with a small group of men beat another group of men that should have been impossible for them to beat. And that's how we should live our lives. We should go through our lives trusting that God's going to fight those battles for us. We can just live our lives and do things the way that God wants us to do them. Not be mean to people, not attack people just because they were mean to us, and try to beat them on our own. We should always just be the people that God wants us to be. Be nice, be forgiving, and when those battles come, just trust that God is going to win the battle for us. And He will. Something they wrote here, it says, don't be reckless and rush into battle alone. Always think about, the battle and how it should be fought. It says, check your anger, check your emotions, listen to God's direction and follow Him. If God is with you, no enemy can defeat you. Be sure when you face that enemy, you are not standing alone. And the last thing is just to make sure that it's a battle that God wants you to fight anyway. Sometimes we decide that we want to, fight somebody or something, and God's probably sitting there saying, nah, I really don't want you to fight them at all. In the story, God wanted them to fight the Midianites, and He provided the victory. And so we should do that in our lives too. That's all I got for today, and hope to see y'all again next week. Talk to y'all later. Bye-bye.